Welcome to COP5227, C Programming Essentials. This first video is, well, it should be the first one that you watch in the series, right? It's going to introduce you to the course as briefly as possible, just give you your bearings, and try to instill in you the sense of, okay, why are we doing those specific learning activities, and how am I going to work with those different learning activities to maximize my learning in the class this semester. So before we dig into the details, a quick overview. COP5527, this is the old version of the diagram for the curriculum here. COP5227, I confused myself, comes in the second semester of your entire curriculum. The things that I want you to note in this diagram are the dependency on this course. Okay, this is our main prerequisite. And the dependency, I would say, on this course, even though it's not noted by an arrow in the diagram. Okay, so those three courses together, this one, the one that you are taking right now, and this one, they form an introduction to programming. Don't get me wrong, discrete structure essential is going to be relevant to programming. Data structure essential, obviously relevant to programming, and algorithm definitely. Okay, so there's a lot of programming in your curriculum. But we articulate, in this course, we articulate the transition between procedural development, like what you learn to do, solving problems, writing code from scratch, but doing it in a simple programming language. And then later you're going to learn to do problem solving using object-oriented programming language. Well, we are right in the middle of those two types of programming. Okay, so we assume that you know already how to write code, that you know, given a set of requirements, a description of what we want the code to do, that you know how to write from scratch, from zero, in one programming language, for example, Python, that you know how to write a program that will satisfy those requirements. This was the goal of this first course here. So in this course, we are going to kind of build onto that, and we are going to introduce a new programming language, a C programming language. So if you enter this program not knowing anything about programming, which is perfectly fine, you probably learned Python, you picked up the Python programming language right here. Now you're going to pick up the C programming language, then you're going to go back to Python again here, and so on and so forth. Okay? So I want you to have the idea here of, we are trying to redo a lot of the stuff that you did in COP in the prerequisite computing essential, but we are trying to do it in a different programming language. So that means that our primary goals can be summarized as follows. The first one is to further your programming skills and develop further your programming skills. That means that, yes, we're going to redo some of the stuff that you did in the prerequisite class, okay? So you are going to still write program from scratch. You are going to be given a set of requirements, a description of what the code needs to be able to do, and you're going to write completely from scratch a program that satisfies those requirements. So this skills is not going to be forgotten during the semester. You are going to still work on it, and this is what you acquired in the prerequisite, okay? But we are going to consider different types of problems, maybe problems that are a little bit more technicals, that relate to how things are going on, happening under the hood. Okay, so we are going to expose more technical details of the programming language, compiler, etc. We are going to also have a different programming language. So the main goal here is to introduce you to that new programming language and make you able to work with it. But I would add at this point that our goal is not necessarily to turn you into C programmers, hoping that you are going to make an entire career out of developing in the C programming language. No, our goal is to make you good enough at developing with the C programming language that it affects your overall programming skills and makes you a better programmer. Okay, and you are going to see how that's possible when we start digging into the details, because the C programming language is very, very good at exposing technical detail, at showing you how things are working under the hood, and by getting those little glimpses at that level of detail, you are going to actually strengthen the programming habits that you developed in the prerequisite. And then last but not least, we are going to also make you work on a different development environment. Okay, so let's say that you use maybe Windows in your prerequisite class, we are going to, as part of this course, we are going to target making you comfortable using the Linux operating system. So not only we're going to expose you to the Linux operating system, you are going to use a virtual machine this semester to work in this course, a virtual machine that's going to be hosted by our department. So not only we're going to introduce you to the Linux operating system so that you have an experience with Windows, an experience with Linux, hopefully you gain some time at some point, an experience with Mac OS so that you'll be really at ease in all the major mainstream operating system environment. But we want to do so at the command line level. So command line skills, very useful, okay? A lot of people have a little bit of apprehension using command line. Hopefully by the end of this course, we're going to spend the entire course using the command line over and over. I will illustrate how to use it in all my videos. You will practice using it, as you write every program. By the end of the semester, our goal is for you to have a perception of how much useful the command line can be, okay? And most likely not be fearing anymore the command line, okay? We don't want you to be one of those IT professional or CS professionals that are actually taking a step back every time somebody in a room mentioned we should write a little script or we should do this with the command line, etc. Okay, graphic user interface are really useful, definitely, but knowing command line goes a long way in helping you be operational on all sorts of different situations. So these are our primary learning goal. The to-do list for this week, this is going to be supplemented, by the way, by announcement. Don't worry. So if we have other additional things that come up at the last minute, I will post announcement on Canvas. But I want to give you an idea of what you need to take care of this week. Okay, so first thing, get it out of the way, read the syllabus, and ask questions. Remember, the syllabus is a contract on how we are going to work together this semester. So it's really important that you read the details. This little presentation here is just there to give you a taste of things, an outline, an introduction, but all the details are in the syllabus. It is very important that you read it thoroughly and you ask questions. Don't wait, okay? This should be taken care of during the first 2 days of the week or something like that. Then I'm going to ask you to go to this URL, which is subject to change from semester to semester, but this is a URL that we are using for this semester at the time of this recording. And you are going to verify that you have access to your Linux virtual machine. Sometime during the week, a list of all the students enrolled in this class is going to be sent to our IT help desk in the department. They are going to open accounts for you. By the time you log in, you should see a virtual machine that you can click and you will operate in that Linux virtual environment for the semester, for the time, the duration of this course. Okay. It's number 3. Once we are done with those setup things, we have actually material. This is a very short semester that we have. We have only 8 weeks, so we cannot afford to spend the first week just getting comfortable with the virtual machine, etc. We need to have like a very thorough pace during the whole semester. So we have already material in this first week module. Every week we are going to release a new module. For this first week, the module is going to get you set up with the course and also get you started learning about the Linux operating system. And once we are done with that, we'll have a little bit more material, a little bit more video lectures that are going to introduce you to the very, very, very rudiments of the C programming language. Well, you need to get started on that material, and that material is going to be shaped in a manner that is going to be very similar to how every other module is going to be shaped in this semester. Okay, the part about the syllabus, the part about this introduction video to the course, the part about getting used to the Linux virtual machine, all of that is just for the first week module. Okay, but as soon as you start digging into item number 3 on this list, you are going to see that the structure with which we work is going to be the same one repeated over and over and over every module. So I think it's really important to have a consistent structure for module so that after the first week, you have seen the kind of learning activities we are going to work on together. By the time we are done with the second week, you should already be familiar, comfortable with the pace of the course and the type of activities and the expectation that I have for you in each of the subsequent modules. Last but not least, we have to have a way to take attendance, even though this is an online asynchronous course, so we don't have class meetings. So to this end, we have a first week quiz that is not graded. It's very simple. It's just a checklist, to make sure that you are ready to get started with the course. Take this quiz, make sure that you score 100% on it, see the details in the syllabus on exactly how to take it and when to take it, etc. And if you complete this quiz and score 100% on it, then you are going to be marked present for the course, and we won't have any administrative problems to keep you enrolled. All right, so this is your to-do for the first week. Now let's talk about how you can learn every week. So every module is going to follow the same pattern. We're going to have the same kind of learning activities, right? So how should you be working in this course every week on every separate module? What are the goals of the different learning activities and how to best benefit from them? So let's review together. So first thing, there are going to be always video lectures, okay? So you can tab on approximately 200 minutes of a video lecture per module, okay, so per week. All right. So the first step is to watch those. The idea of those, sometimes they are split between lecture and the apprenticeship exercise we're going to talk about here. So there can be two types of video, right? Pure lecture or apprenticeship exercise. The goal of the lecture is to introduce you nicely, gently to the concept that we're going to cover in the module. So it's kind of giving you an overview, a quick overview, but an overview of the main highlights that we are going to cover in this module. Once we are done with that, we are going to have always, every module, one or several reading assignments. So some of the chapters of the textbook are going to be assigned. The first thing that I should warn you about here is that the lecture and the reading assignment are not optional. It's not like one or the other. It's actually, you need to do both, okay? Again, the lecture are going to introduce you to the concept so that by the time you read the textbook, things are going to already make sense to you, and it's going to make it much easier to absorb the details, the technical details that the textbook is going to add on top of the lecture. So, for example, if I show you one way to solve a category of problem in the lecture, then you can expect the reading assignment to maybe show you some alternative ways to do the same work, okay? The idea for the lecture is to get you to the point where you can solve the problem. The idea for the reading assignment is to add information to that and give you supplemental information about other possible ways, for example, to do the same work, okay? So lecture and reading assignment are what we call passive learning, okay? That's not because it's not called passive learning because you don't have anything to do, but it's called passive learning because the information is distilled to you in one way or the other, audiovisual, written format, and you absorb knowledge like this. However, you need some active learning, okay? This has been proven like over and over and over in education research. You need not only passive learning activities, but you need also some active learning to help you actually internalize the knowledge that we are trying to teach you. So this is where the PQs, practice quiz, come into play. The PQs are ungraded quizzes that are directly related to the reading assignment, okay? So they follow exactly the reading assignment. Every time you open the PQ in a module, you get a set of random questions on the chapters that were assigned for you to read. And those questions are really, I would almost say sadistic in the sense that they are really detail-oriented, okay? So the goal here is to make you think about what you read, to make you think about what you heard in the lecture, to make you come up with questions, and to make you spot if you missed anything. Okay, it's very easy to sit through a lecture, then go through the reading assignment, just follow the steps mechanically and miss a lot of information. Well, the PQs are going to prevent us from doing that. They're going to help you realize that maybe you read that chapter and you listened to the lecture, but you still do not know how to answer that question. And yes, the question might be very picky, very difficult, but still it's going to point you out to things that you missed so far in your studying. So as soon as you bump into one of those questions, go back, revisit the material from the reading assignment, revisit the material from the lecture if you need to, rewatch the videos, and try to answer the question. But if you are stuck, office hours. Very important. So this is an online asynchronous class, right? We don't have class meetings, but I will hold every week office hours, and so will the TA. And those office hours, even though they are not mandatory, I really encourage you to reap the benefits that they offer. Okay, meaning that you should not spend the entire semester just watching videos, doing quiz, and working on your own. Okay, it is really important that you establish a dialogue with the instructor, myself, with the TA, so that anytime you are stuck, instead of spending 2 hours getting stuck, banging your head on the wall, not making any progress, you have a chance to get stuck maybe for 20 minutes, then immediately jump to office hours, get some help. Let us help you get unstuck and maximize your learning while minimizing the time that you spend, achieving this level of learning. So office hours are very important. I want you to consider them a part of what you should be doing every week, asking questions during office hours, on forums, whatever works best for you, but asking questions from the instructors and the TA is part of the learning, is part of your job every week. Once you're done with the cycle, you see how this is going to build up, to make sure that you understand the basics of the module. We are going to have GQ. So you can come to office hours to ask any question about the lectures. You can come to office hours to ask any question about the reading assignment, about the PQs, no problem. Not about the GQ. The GQ is a graded quiz. This is time for evaluation. So somewhere in the middle of the week, once you are done watching the video for the lecture, doing the reading assignment, practicing with the PQs, make sure you understand the material, you're going to want to go ahead and take the graded quiz. The graded quiz is going to give you immediate feedback on how well you did, and it's going to help you understand whether you need to go back and revisit some things, whether you need to come to office hours and discuss with us, say, for example, I thought I understood everything. This is my performance in the GQ. Can we review together what I missed in the GQ? Things of that nature. Okay, so this is kind of like your mid-module self-evaluation there. After that, apprenticeship exercise and practice assignment, yes, you can come to office hours to get help with those as well. So the apprenticeship exercise, generally, they are smallish exercise, much smaller than the practice assignment. And these exercises, there are a few of them every module, they come with videos. And these videos are part of the 200 minutes, of video lecturing by module. As I don't call them lecture, I call them apprenticeship exercise, because the main focus here is, instead of me presenting the concept again with abstract example, we're going to take concrete exercises. So you are going to be given a list of exercises. You can definitely attempt those exercises, work on them on your own. You can work on them with other classmates. We're going to talk more about that in the next slide, okay? And then you get a solution video. And the video is not just giving you the solution, like this, like in one step. No, it's going through the whole process of solving the exercise step by step. Okay, so it's really important that you attempt those exercises, but you are backed by the solution video so that you never get stuck. You can watch a little bit of the video, then try to continue, then watch a little bit more, and you will have a definitive solution to all of those apprenticeship exercise. Practice assignment, it's the same idea, but next level. Next level meaning the exercise is bigger, maybe a little bit more complex, and this time I do not provide you the solution. But again, you can come to office hours to get help. We will help you. You can work with other students, because practice assignments are not graded either. So you have a lot of opportunity here to work on those practice assignments and apply the skill that you learned so far, and make sure that you can apply them by yourself. The fact we don't give the solution doesn't mean that we're not going to help you reach the solution during office hours if you need help. That just means that you are not going to be able to give up and just, read the solution and say, okay, now I understand. Well, maybe you understand when you see the solution, but that doesn't mean that you could find it if you were working on your own, right? So this is why it's really important to have this last part of the learning in each module, where you are pretty much practicing, preparing for the exam. Talking of which, let's take a look at how all those learning activities are going to build on top of one another. So we have passive learning, the lecture, the reading assignment, and then everything else is active learning. The practice quiz, that's going to help you make sure that the reading and the lecture are correctly understood. And then practice quiz, you can work with other students, okay? no problem there. There's a bunch of activities that you're going to be able to work with other students on because they are not graded, so there is no problem with cheating and stuff like that. So I encourage you to work with other students on the practice quiz, to post questions about the practice quiz on the forum, to come to office hours to get help on the practice quiz, and when you are ready, you get your evaluation here in the form of the graded quiz. And that's going to prepare you for the basic understanding, the concept, and the technical details for the module. And then we have those practice apprenticeship exercise, okay? And I actually forgot to put them here. They should be up here somewhere. Apprenticeship exercises are going to be here. They're going to show you how to apply. So it's kind of half and half passive and active learning, right? I give you an exercise, so this is active. You can try it. You can try your hand at it. You can work again with our student, come to office hours, post for help on forums, okay? And then you get the solution video, which is the passive learning part of it, okay? And then you have your practice assignment, which has only an active learning part, but you can still get help, as much help as you need from office hours forum and working with our student. And when you are ready, we are going to have roughly every 2 weeks something called an intermediary exam. And the intermediary exam is going to be a continuation of the practice assignment, right? So if you do well on the practice assignment, the goal is totally to have you do well on the corresponding intermediary exam. And those intermediary exams are going to also be pretty much a rehearsal for the final exam. So every 2 weeks, you are going to have a comprehensive exam that's derived and building on the practice assignment that you had, themselves building on the apprenticeship exercise, themselves building on the whole column here to the left that teaches you the concept and techniques, right? And those intermediary exams are going to progressively look more and more like the final will look at the end of the semester. So the goal is really for you to have this entire semester scaffolded, right? So that you progressively engage in activities that are getting more and more realistic with respect to the final exam. And by the time you take the final exam, you should be thinking pretty much, you should be feeling like this is just like the last intermediary exam, okay? It's just a reformulation of the last intermediary exam, maybe with 1 or 2 more topics tackled on it, but the level of difficulty is going to ramp up nicely throughout the entire semester so that progressively you get more and more ready for your final exam. All right? Okay, well, that's the plan for this semester. I'm done with this video. I wish you good luck for this class, and most importantly, please make sure that you stay in touch during the semester. Again, I'm going to say that again because it's really important. It's very easy in an asynchronous online class to feel like you are just dealing with videos and quizzes, etc. But we do have a team here to support you. All you have to do is reach out to us, ask questions in the forum, come to office hours, and you will have somebody to work with, to learn with. And also, you've noticed that I have a lot of non-graded activities, so don't hesitate to work with our student on those. Now, the graded activities, let's avoid problems, okay? This is personal work only. You cannot work with our student. You cannot ask us questions about how to solve them because this is what we use to grade your skill, right? But there is plenty to do in this class that can be done with total support from the teaching team and your classmates as well. Please use those opportunities. All right. Thank you for your attention, and I'll see you in the next video.